An aspiring teacher, an Army vet, an athlete called a gentle giant, a singer with the voice of an angel, the light of her parents' lives. Tonight, promising futures ended by gunfire on a college campus, and what we now know about the man who did it. I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, why we're losing the battle against the flu this season, the personal side of Michelle Obama. You strike me as someone who likes to say what's on her mind, pretty feisty. And basketball's new Kylie rule. That's Kylie. Steve Hartman will explain the rule.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. We now know the identity of the man behind the shooting rampage at Northern Illinois University, but will we ever know what drove him to do it? Stephen Kazmierczak was a 27-year-old former student at the school. He killed 5 students ranging in age from 19 to 32 and wounded 21 others. But why? We have 2 reports tonight. First, Cynthia Bowers in DeKalb, Illinois, with the latest on the investigation. Cynthia?
Katie, as you can imagine, it's been a terrible day on campus here. Students are still stunned and officials are still trying to come up with some sort of motive. As students sought answers and solace from each other, Elise Jerome, who was in the classroom, says motives don't matter. What are some of those pictures and images that you keep seeing?
The one that I can't forget is the one where he walked in. I mean, I could tell you how many steps he took. I could tell you his stature as he walked in. It's just his presence was absolutely horrible. Like, the minute he pulled the gun up from his side, I mean, everybody was just screaming. Police say
Stephen Kazmierczak was seen entering Cole Hall just after 3 yesterday, wearing a long coat and carrying a guitar case to hide a powerful 12-gauge shotgun and 3 handguns. He entered the lecture room through an exit door on the left side of the stage. Students say he emerged from behind a black screen and opened fire. Police say he fired 6 rounds from the shotgun and 48 from the handguns. Tim Meyerbach, a guard on the football team, ran into the line of fire to save a wounded student.
You know, I seen him fall, and, this guy was obviously headhunting, so I grabbed him and just tried to get him out of the way because he couldn't do it himself.
Just last spring, Kazmierczak was a success story, a sociology grad student who'd earned a Dean's Award for a paper on prison society.
There were no red flags. He was an outstanding student. He was an awarded student. He was someone that was revered by the faculty and staff and students alike.
Last fall, Kazmierczak transferred to the University of Illinois Champaign, about 170 miles away. People who knew him said he'd recently quit taking some kind of medication and was increasingly erratic.
This is a very hard time.
In Lakeland, Florida today, Kazmierczak's father was devastated by what his son had done. 20-year-old finance student Daniel Parmenter was a gentle giant, friends say, who loved to play rugby. Gail Dubowski, a 20-year-old sophomore, is described as a good person with a big heart. 19-year-old Ryan Mace's MySpace page has this message: saying you love someone is not enough. It's how you treat them that matters. Catalina Garcia was born 20 years ago in Mexico and always dreamed of being a teacher. After serving in the Army, 32-year-old Juliana Guijan also wanted to teach 2nd graders.
I don't have my sister no more, and I miss that. I miss my sissy.
The blood spatters that stain the sidewalk outside Cole Hall will soon wash away. The sorrow will be here a lot longer. The 25,000-student campus is a silent and sad place. As one university official put it today, Katie, this is an American tragedy that just happened to occur here.
Cynthia, do authorities believe that this young man was mentally ill, and how did he get the guns?
Well, officials so far refused to discuss Kazmierczak's mental state or even what kind of medication he'd been taking. He was able to get the guns legally, apparently, because there was nothing in his background to prevent it. What is ominous, though, is that he purchased 2 of them so recently, less than a week ago, from a gun shop in Champaign.
Katie.
All right, Cynthia Bowers. Cynthia, thank you very much. With so many of these school shootings in this country, officials at NIU had prepared for a tragedy like this, hoping it would never happen. But at midday yesterday, it did. Randall Pinkston now on how police and the university responded.
It was a day the university tried to prevent with meticulous plans and practice drills. But in the end, nothing could stop the violence. Just after 3 p.m., as a geology lecture is ending, the gunman walks into the lecture hall and begins firing. 3:06, students scramble to escape. Dispatchers and campus security receive the first 911 calls. By 3:08, 10 officers are on the scene to assist the wounded and find the gunman. But Stephen Kazmirczak's already killed himself.
The response was immediate, and they went in immediately.
At 3:20, the university transmits the first campus-wide alert by the internet and voicemail, a system introduced after more than 30 students were killed at Virginia Tech last April.
Get to a safe area immediately. Take precautions until given the all clear.
4:10, police report the campus is secure. The mayhem at Northern Illinois is the 5th shooting at public schools and colleges in just 1 week. Last Friday at a Louisiana college, a woman shot 2 students to death and killed herself. In Ohio, a man shot his wife in a school. A student was shot in a Memphis high school. A 15-year-old was shot at a junior high school in California. All of that in 7 days. Is there anything you think your security force could have done to prevent the tragedy?
Well, very frankly, no.
Northern Illinois Vice President Eddie Williams says his school learned a valuable lesson from Virginia Tech, but believes more drastic changes may be needed.
The concept of open campuses, all of these things have got to be relooked at.
One idea being proposed in 9 states is allowing licensed gun owners, students or faculty, to carry weapons on campus.
It wouldn't necessarily make the campus safer, but it gives you a leveler field when, when somebody comes into a classroom like this. If you actually have a gun on you, you can defend yourself.
But university officials here tell me they are strongly opposed to that idea, a viewpoint shared by other colleges around the country who say that having more guns on campus only increases the risk of more violence. Katie?
Randall Pinkston. Randall, thank you. Turning to health news, if it seems more people you know are coming down with the flu, well, they are. 2 weeks ago, 11 states were reporting flu outbreaks. Today, it is 4 times as many. A big reason the flu shot this year just isn't working as well as it has in the past. Here's Dr. John LaPook.
This season's flu vaccine is protecting against only 40% of the flu. Usually, the vaccine fights off 70 to 90%.
Part of the problem this year is that one of the strains that wasn't included in the vaccine also happens to be a strain that can cause a lot of severe disease.
To make the vaccine, scientists have to predict a year ahead of time which flu strains will come to America from other parts of the world. The strategy has worked well 16 out of the last 19 years, but this year the flu viruses seem to have mutated on their way here.
I think that 40% protection is better than 0% protection, so I would still recommend my patients to get the vaccine.
Researchers are hard at work trying to develop a manufacturing process that's more nimble, so when the virus changes, the vaccine can change too.
And John, what can you do if you think you've been exposed to the flu?
Talk to your doctor, because there are medications like Relenza and Tamiflu that can prevent the flu after you've been exposed. And these same medicines can actually treat the flu. But here's the trick. You have to take them within 48 hours of exposure. So know the symptoms. You have to have the symptoms which include aches and pains, fever, sore throat, cough, and just plain feeling crummy.
All right, so you might want to call your doctor if you're feeling that way. John LaPook. John, thank you. Turning to the presidential race, a chill went through Hillary Clinton's campaign today. The fear is she may lose the vote of a key superdelegate, Congressman John Lewis of Georgia. Dean Reynolds is in Ohio and covering the Clinton campaign. Dean, there was a lot of confusion about this all day long, and hopefully you can clear it up for us.
Well, I'll say there's a lot of confusion. You're right, Katie. You know, John Lewis is a very influential member of Congress and a hero of the civil rights struggle. His endorsement of Hillary Clinton is still on the Clinton website, though it may not be worth as much today as it was yesterday, after he gave an interview to the New York Times in which he suggested he may have to switch allegiance to Barack Obama because Obama won so many votes in the Georgia primary. Georgia is where Lewis is a congressman. Now, his office later issued a clarification saying the story was inaccurate. They didn't exactly say how. And intentional or not, it may provide cover to other superdelegates who signed on early with Senator Clinton, only to see Barack Obama sweep across their states, too. At the very least, it's a worrisome development for Senator Clinton at a time when she's trying to fight back from a series of damaging defeats. Katie?
The plot continues to thicken. Dean Reynolds, thank you. And there's more CBS News ahead, including my exclusive interview with Michelle Obama. The first time Barack asked her out, she said no. Then
I thought I could hang out with this guy. I was impressed. I really was.
Michelle Obama has played an important role in her husband's presidential campaign. His political strategy had to get her stamp of approval. She insisted he stop smoking if he wanted to run. And staffers talk of the look, the way the couple expressed their feelings without saying a word. Tonight, in an exclusive interview, the personal side of Michelle Obama, including their early courtship. Before you were married, the two of you worked at a law firm together in Chicago, and I know I read when he first asked you out, you said, no thank you, not wanting to mix business with pleasure.
Right.
But then he invited you somewhere, and your view of him changed dramatically. What was that, and what happened?
He asked me out on a date, and I thought, well, you're my advisee. I don't think that looks right. But he invited me to go to one of the churches because he had been a community organizer and worked on the far south side with a group of churches. And to see him transform himself from the guy who was the summer associate in a law firm with the suit, and then to come into this church basement with folks who were like me, who grew up like me, who were challenged and struggling in ways that I never would. People connected with his message. And I knew then and there there's something different about this guy.
And you were smitten after that.
I thought I could hang out with this guy.
What do your girls think about this? Your daughter, Malia, is 9. Sasha is 6.
Right.
Are they a bit overwhelmed by this whole thing?
They're not, because this isn't their life. You know, now if we talk to them about it, which I've done with Malia, giving her a sense of how this thing goes, what's the timing, and how long will it take before we know what's new. You know, you'll get a sense within her of the anxiety of a shift, like if Dad wins, then will we move? So they have some real practical considerations about what does this mean? Do I go to a new school? Will I make new friends? I mean, it's all the things that you would think a 9-year-old would be concerned with if she was going to move.
On the other hand, do they say, gee, Mommy, all these people are cheering for Daddy. This is so weird.
It's interesting because they don't react to it. They don't think, wow, Daddy, isn't this interesting? Sasha thinks, wow, the light kid, the little one, is much more interested in the limelight, and she likes to wave, and
she's the one who was smiling when you were photographed on Capitol Hill and actually high-fived Dick Cheney.
Gave Dick Cheney a high five. It's like, there goes Sasha.
You strike me as someone who likes to say what's on her mind, pretty feisty. I've read that you can be sarcastic.
Yes.
Have you had to really kind of rein yourself in on the campaign trail?
You know, what I vowed is that I want to be as me as I can be, so that people, you know, if they vote for Barack, they know exactly who their first lady will be, all the good and the bad.
But certainly you've had to bite your tongue.
Well, yeah, because you know, we have a habit of just characterizing people. You know, it's just sort of easy to define Michelle Obama as the feisty, sarcastic, then you become that caricature. So I just try to give people a broader variety of who I am, so that, you know, my joke doesn't interfere with the broader point.
16 years ago, we saw another candidate's wife break the mold. She was a lawyer, a mother, an outspoken advocate for her husband. Do you see any similarities between you and Hillary Clinton in 1992?
You know, I'm sure there are some, but I feel like I am uniquely me. You know, I think that every first lady in the history of this nation has brought something uniquely different and has moved that role in a fundamentally different direction. So to say that one is more impactful than another, I think it has been an evolution. that has gotten us to this point where I can be here, potentially to become the next First Lady with all of my outspokenness and my approach to life and the things that I say. I think it's been an evolution in this country because of the many First Ladies that have come before.
My complete interview with Michelle Obama can be found at cbsnews.com. Just click on CBS Evening News, and we've also included background on Barack Obama and all the presidential candidates. And I'll be back with more of the CBS Evening News in a moment. The U.S. military now plans to try to shoot down that broken spy satellite as early as next week, and they say there's an 80% chance they'll get it on the first shot. The Navy will fire a missile from a cruiser northwest of Hawaii toward the satellite, 150 miles above the Earth. The toxic fuel on board the satellite is expected to burn up in the atmosphere and not reach Earth. More now about the Roger Clemens hearing in Congress this week. Chairman Henry Waxman says he regrets holding it, but he says Clemens' lawyers insisted. They deny that, saying they wanted the hearing called off. Waxman says he thinks Clemens didn't tell the truth about using steroids, and he thinks former trainer Brian McNamee was unfairly attacked by committee Republicans. In Los Angeles, final honors for a hero. Thousands turned out for the funeral of Officer Randall Simmons, the first member of the city's famed SWAT team to die in the line of duty. Known as The Rock, Simmons was 51 years old and a hostage negotiator. He was shot to death while trying to talk to a deranged man who had killed 3 family members. Finally tonight, the story of a young sports star who has a point to make, and she makes it again and again and again. Here's Steve Hartman with Assignment America.
People always ask me, what makes a good story? A dog that goes to school is a good story. It's not this story, but it would be a good one. Another good one is any story that renews your faith in human kindness. And that story did just board the bus. It takes place here in DeSmet, South Dakota, and it began nearly 2 years ago with a little bump on Kylie Pashton's right leg. That bump turned out to be bone cancer. There were weeks of chemotherapy, multiple surgeries, and worst of all,
I guess not being at school very much.
I'm sorry, I must have misunderstood you. I thought you said you missed going to school.
I miss going to school.
Not so much the work, of course, as the friends, and especially the basketball.
Right here, girls.
This 5th grader loved basketball. Unfortunately, her leg became so fragile, doctors wouldn't allow her any physical contact. All she could do was keep the stats and yell.
Yeah, she really cheer.
She would?
You could just see her over the sidelines, her smiling from ear to ear. I don't know, it just made me feel better. I still felt like I was part of it.
A part of it, but for her friends and coaches, not part enough. They still wanted her to play. Yet outside of changing the very rules of the game, there was just no way to guarantee Kylie's safety, which is why they changed the very rules of the game. Not long ago, the kids and coaches asked for and got the Kylie rule, which basically says that when there's a foul, anyone recovering from bone cancer is allowed to check into the game to shoot her team's free throws.
What do you think of the new rule?
I think it's really nice.
There wasn't anybody that said I want to shoot my own free throws?
No. When I was in Sioux Falls, I made 8 in a row once.
8 free throws in a row?
Yeah.
It's just one small gesture for one little girl in one tiny town. And yet, it makes you rethink what kids' athletics is all about.
I think it brought us closer to, we're all sisters and we're like a big family.
So who won the game? Kylie's team did, before it ever started.
And finally, one other victory to report. As of now, Kylie is cancer-free, and if all goes well, may be back on the court full-time next season.
I'm so glad you told us that, because I was going to ask you that very question. Meanwhile, Kylie wants the NBA to adopt.
She doesn't understand why all people in her situation shouldn't be allowed to shoot free throws, including the NBA.
All right. Well, I think that's a great idea, and that was a great story.
Thanks.
Tell us about next week, Steve.
Okay, we're going to have a look at your replacement, Katie, assuming you'll be ready to retire by 2040. Meet the kid who's grooming himself to be a network anchor from his parents' basement. And keep your story ideas coming by going to cbsnews.com and making your way to the Assignment America page. If we don't cover it, maybe that kid will.
All right, I can't wait to meet him.
Yeah, he can't wait to meet you.
Okay, good. Thanks, Steve. And that is the CBS Evening News. I'm Katie Couric in New York. Thank you for watching this week. Have a safe holiday weekend. Good night.